Like, but I think, yeah, there is a certain sense of which, because Anglicanism is it's kind of local, right? And that you can sort of base harvest feasts and all this off of that, right? Whereas Catholicism, to a certain degree, because they've harped on that universal thing, and that's sort of been their main point. It's like, okay, I didn't know it was a harvest feast, the harvest feast, until I went to Latin Mass. And even then, it was like, come out here, things blessed, but like, we're not actually going to do anything about it. Like, maybe some people brought some herbs for the feast of the Dormition. Maybe
And
some.
also, some people are driving 2 hours to get there. So how much of
Yeah,
a feast can you really have, you know?
yeah. What community is there? Like, we would have. I remember at the Latin Mass parish I was at in South Carolina. Um, Maybe this is a story for another time, because it's an amazing parish, but it's also one of the most LARPy parishes I've ever seen in my entire life. Story on that later, with involving African drums and liturgical innovations in a Latin mass. Um, but I think because it's based on a local level, people come together and they know this is how it's always been, right? Their father went here, their mother went here, their grandparents, thus and such, dating far back, even when it was, some people, oh, that was Roman Catholic, or that was Orthodox, or whatever. Regardless, they've been at that location for however number of years, right? And have continued to do so. And they've continued these traditions, right? Whereas, like, in a lot of ways, Roman Catholicism, maybe it's like this in Europe. I'm not the only place in Europe I have great experience with is Ireland. So I can't speak for Italy or Germany or any of these other places, although they're doing clown masses in Germany and chicken dances. So I can't imagine um, them keeping harvest feasts and other such things. But I think, like, the virtue lies in the fact that they've, despite heresies and all these other wacko things you see in the major places, at the small bum country Anglican parish, that 50 people go to. They've been doing that for their entire lives, and bringing these things there. Whereas Catholicism, it's like, well, there's no harvest today in Australia, so it's not really universal. So it's not gonna feast. It's not universal for the people there, because they're coming from, like you said, 2 hours away. So I think there is a benefit into these small local communities, right? Once again, I think Anglicanism is ridiculous and riddled with heresies. But there is something real that they can participate. There is something more real that they can participate in a lot of ways than some of these Roman Catholic things.
Just for the record, I'm not laughing at what Philip said. I'm laughing at Graham's goofy addition. He just sent a series of emojis.
I
Um,
was laughing at Philip's comment about Anglicanism.
right. No, I figured. Um,
I have an addition to Philip's
go ahead.
comment actually, and this is something about, and Philip and I have actually discussed this extensively. This whole theory about England having been Orthodox, not actually in the way that we understand it, but it preserves something that Orthodoxy still preserves today. So in retrospect, it still, looks kind of Orthodox. After the Anglican schism, what happened is the See of Canterbury frozen time. And so it's still in isolation, and it's still a local seat. So it still looks a lot like these national parishes, like the Ukrainian parish Philip went to, or the Greek one that I go to, where they preserve these traditions. So there's no tension between the locale and the see that's actually governing the locale, right? So the harvest feast and all of these things, they still make sense even to this day, even though there's wacko stuff going on in the Anglican Church. It's its own see, and so you have to give it credit for that, is that it's maintained those traditions. It still has that continuity because the See of Canterbury it's over England, and that's how it's supposed to be, and so they maintain those traditions.